So, somebody wanted me to do a video on a certain subject, so I thought, why not? It'd be nice to do a video every day, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So, just getting my microphone set up so you can hear me better. And I'm gonna use Wikipedia, and someone might say, "Oh, Wikipedia," but really, when I was going to school, they'd say, "Don't use Wikipedia." But a lot of times, it's not bad for research. I found out a lot of information on there. Now, that wouldn't be the only source I use. Just saying. I wanted to do a video on NASA because there's a Facebook ad about NASA, but I guess that'll have to wait. So, okay. So there's a magazine called The New American Century. And if you didn't hear about it, the project for a new American century, and we can just kind of look at that before I get into the video. Source Watch, maybe they might say how much money they make, but the John Birch Society. So it's going to be a video on them, John Birch Society. Now, realize that they have all these organizations. They have the Family Council Research Center. And if you saw that video I did on them, well, the Family Council Research, you'd think it's just a group, I guess, for the family. I think they're anti abortion. But then you see that the vice president is a Knights of Malta, more secret societies, and they recently had a program, Family Research Council, where they had they made it into ecumenical movement where they would have someone that they shouldn't have, that you want to avoid that kind of teaching. Well, they just had it. Oh, let's have this person, let's have that person. So even like a group like that, you have to watch out. Now, here's the John Birch Society, and they have the project for the new American century. I think it's like a magazine. Um, but so here's some of the people here. You could look it up. It's not going to be that long of a video. But basically, I think it's like a conservative program. But again, just watch out for certain groups, especially one thing you could check is their Facebook. Um, Another thing is you can see how big their Facebook page is, how many likes they have, and then you can kind of judge how big a group it is. Also, you could see how much money they're bringing in. So Wikipedia, again, I have no problem using it, not as my only source, but so it's far right politics, anti-communism, and headquarters. I didn't know, Wisconsin. So I was reading it, and you want to check out a lot of times the links for what they have here. And the link that I was reading, it says right here, down here is the one I'm going to go to. So I just have to, it's kind of a big article, so I have to scroll down to get to it. But, the origins you want to check out. I guess John Birch, an American Baptist missionary. And then also now you can read some of the members and stuff like that. So I'm just again going down right now, and the reason, so it says, if left unexposed, the traitors inside the U.S. government would betray the country's sovereignty to the United States for a collective new world order. Okay, so where did you hear about that? But you might have heard from the '80s. Ron Paul, right, for the New World Order, warning about certain things. Well, now his son Rand Paul is in office, and well, just because someone talks about maybe the New World Order or tries to expose it, doesn't mean that they have some kind of role, maybe in a secret society or part of working either for the Vatican towards the New World Order. So one example would be like Alex Jones, okay? He'd be talking against the New World Order, but at the same time, promoting New Age ideas and starting a revolution. So it gives the history in the 1960s. And I guess even Bob Dylan has a song and some other. So they really got this group into the media, even by musicians singing songs about it and stuff like that. It helped kind of get the name out, probably. So it goes into, again, the 1960s and water fluoridation. So, so I want to get to this. Okay, so the Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints. So they want to claim that that's the church, that they're their only church, that the Mormons claim that they're the only true church. Now, they won't come out and say that if they're going door to door, but by naming it that, the Church of Jesus Christ, you're saying that. And it couldn't be, it's not the truth, okay? I was going to say it couldn't be any farther from the truth, but it's just not the truth. So again, if you want to see, I got a video on my YouTube channel, warning against Mormonism. So they said it's anti-Semitic, racist, anti-Mormon, anti-Masonic, which sounds good to me. But let's just see what it says, really. But these opponents accused Welch of harboring feminist, ecumenical, and revolutionary ideas. So let's see. Again, so then it's list these 3 links. It's good to see what they're talking about. So in link 60 we have here, you click on it, and this is how you use Wikipedia. The Belmont Brotherhood. So try to get that. And again, you got to use your own judgment and discernment, but George Orwell's book 1984, I don't like it. I'm just saying. I mean, it's got some okay ideas, but overall, I don't like it. Animal Farm, he wrote, and sometimes you got to read it in school. He was basically making fun of heaven, but heaven is real. So then it goes into the John Birch Society. And you can judge for yourself. This article, I'll put a link in the comment section so you can read it. I didn't read it all, but very interesting. And they have their blue book. And I guess if you just want to see it yourself, it says Welch. And again, that's like, one of the founders of it. He says, as he wrote in the blue book, I want to convince you, as I am convinced, that even under such leadership, we have no chance unless the specific battles are fought as part of a larger and more lasting movement, and to restore again the heart of man. Well, what does that exactly mean? Okay, because a lot of quotes sometimes can be where you don't know what they're trying to say, right? But they kind of speak to maybe the insiders. Where on the outside, think of, well, now everybody knows Senior's Bush, his speech on New World Order. I've seen that maybe, well, at least 100 times now, probably, I was going to say hundreds. I'm not sure, though. And now people kind of know. But at the time, some people didn't know what he was saying. And for those people that didn't know, they might have been more insiders. But again, if you're reading books and stuff, you'd kind of, back then, you know what they're talking about. But again, let's see if I missed source 2. So part 2 here of the John Birch Society, the Blue Book, says most of the answers can be found in the Blue Book, what they believe. So let's see what he looks about Welch and what he believes about Christianity. And that's where you want to see. Someone could be speaking, about things like, oh, I'm against the New World Order and this and that, but where are they there in their Christian beliefs? Because there's only one faith, okay? And that's the faith in Jesus, and there's only one word of God as far as the book, that's the Bible. So he says this about Christianity. Through many centuries, Christianity, despite all of its splits and schisms, and he goes on, but despite the billions of words that have been written to the contrary, notice because they're gonna and he calls divine Father. Instead of talking about Jesus, sometimes people will say something about Father God, but then they leave Jesus out. That's just kind of a could be a caution there. It could be, but he says, but despite all the billions of words that have been written to the contrary, and before that, he was talking about Christianity. Okay, so he's talking about Christianity, but despite all the billions of words that have been written to the contrary, that fabric is now pierced and torn and weakened beyond dependability. So if you can't tell what he's saying, oh, you can't depend on Christianity because all the words that have been written to the contrary. No, that's not true. The Bible, the Word of God is going to endure forever. And look what he says here. The momentum of a former belief, and now again he's talking about Christianity, and the customs which grew out of it, still have great value. But, there was a but coming, but the fabric is worn too thin to have its old effectiveness. So he's basically, if you can't tell what he's saying that Christianity is too old and to be any kind of effectiveness. Does this sound like a Christian? Okay. No, it doesn't. And there's so much more here. I didn't read it all, but then it gets into Freemasonry, and kind of a long time ago, not too long though, but so I don't know, I just can't remember how long. Someone warned me, watch out for John Birch and Freemasonic ties, and that's the thing. They have all these front groups and agents. A lot of the so-called conspiracy truth talk radio shows are started in Texas and just a few miles away from each other. A lot of times you start up an agent group and you don't want them far apart, back in those days at least, so you put them all together in a base where they can communicate together. So talk radio in Texas, and then you can kind of see who comes out of it, like who's the most popular one, and in that case it was Alex Jones. And then even get a celebrity so it gets more popular, right? Do like celebrity interviews and stuff like that. When if the celebrities are Freemasons, and so is if the host is too. So the Blue Book, and then again, Masonic. I'm not going to get too much into it, but they acknowledge a great architect of the universe, kind of like if you've seen the Matrix movies, the architect. But that's Freemasonry. They don't believe in the God of the Bible. Okay, so this is a 33-degree Mason. And you go Mason, and it's not Freemason in the Vatican. I wonder why. They go hand in hand, I think. And some of these quotes are not even worth reading. But again, it's Freemasonry. Yes, Winston, there's a brotherhood. Well, there's more than just, they put this in video games too. They put the White Brotherhood in the video games, and they put it in the movies. So, piecing this together, don't play the video games, don't watch the movies, but they do tell you some of the stuff, and they have like the White Brotherhood in there. And, there's groups even more than the, Freemasons. And there's the, Brotherhood of Bell movie. Okay, but there's the Skull and Bones movie that they put out in Hollywood, part of Hollywood. And you see here, Welch, the leader of the Belmont Brotherhood, and anytime you really hear that, you hear it in the music industry too, the Brotherhood of Man, John Lennon, and there's that pop rock artist too that said, the Brotherhood of Man. She added in too. So you see it in the music industry. Because a lot of the musicians, well, they're witches, or they're part of, something like Freemasonry or some of these other groups. And, I don't want to read too much of this stuff. So, you got to be simple concerning this. And, after a long time studying some of this stuff, I just don't like it. So, I don't want to make this video too long. I could, if you need more convincing. and a lot of masonry here. But even if you're thinking, well, I don't know if he's a Freemason or not, well, um, just think about that quote you had from Welch about Christianity and what he said, and it didn't sound Christian. And I think this is a pretty good article. So, um, and I heard before about, they make front groups and then control those groups, just like you're seeing today with QAnon or whatever. Before that, people don't remember that they had Anonymous, and now it's just QAnon, QAnon Anonymous, and they're using the Guy Fawkes mask, the guy that was responsible for trying to blow up Parliament in the 1600s to try to kill King James when they were working on the King James Bible. So they make the movie V for Vendetta, promoting the Guy Fawkes, the villain, the wicked guy. They try to make him into a hero. That's Hollywood. And who was Guy Fawkes? Well, he was a Jesuit working for the Vatican. So, they say all roads lead to Rome. Well, not every single road, but, a lot of the roads do lead to Rome. And, a lot of these secret societies lead to Rome. A lot of these people meet the cardinals in the Vatican for a reason. So, I mean, and so this has just been a short study on the John Birch Society. I don't want to go too much longer just because I know people don't want the long videos overall, and I'm not too invested in them. But the reason it is important because you'll see them being promoted on conservative radio, just like you've seen the Family of Council Research, or whatever their name is, still on these like Christian radio shows. You'll see like the New American Century or John Birch Society, and you'll see like the Family of Council Research on there. When you see that the Family Council Research, the vice presidents of Knights of Malta, and they're into ecumenicalism, just like a lot of these groups are. See, the Vatican, Catholic means universal. And many years ago, the Pope, got the religious orders together, the false religions all together, most of them. And someone too even said, like, I don't know which book it was, otherwise I could maybe source it, but one of the books I have, they even said the charismatic movement that the Vatican was behind. And I heard too, like, even Islam, the Vatican helped set up. So I'm just saying, like, so a lot of these groups and stuff, if you think about it, if they have the money and the resources, and they could set up a lot of these groups, and they wouldn't come out and say who's really, what's the real goal, because you wouldn't want the members to know what the goal is, and then you can get more money donated that way, and then from the public, and then when there's separate goals of they might say they're against the New World Order, but they're actually help forming it. And just like the example would be like, the QAnon movement, and then setting up groups like Black Lives Matter, and then setting up like the Proud Boys. I didn't really look into that, but setting the groups up and then having an outcome for it, and that would be like a one world kind of religion kind of thing. And so Wikipedia, it ain't bad to use. Let's see. So the 25 people who signed the PNAC's founding statement, 10 went on to serve in the administration of George W. Bush, including Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, etc., etc. And again, George Bush has his, um, speech for the New World Order, Senior Bush. I'm thinking it's talking about Junior Bush here, but so. So this is different. Sorry about the Project for a New American Century. Um, Let me just get it up here. See, John Birch Society, the New American. Sorry, I'm thinking about the New American, but you can see why I got that mixed up. So the New American, I think, is the magazine that the John Birch Society has been put out since 1987. So just so you know. So then you might think that who's the so then they have these groups that have then subgroups. So you got the John Birch Society, and then you got a subgroup, the New American, and then they put out magazines, right? Based in Appleton, Wisconsin. So I mean, headquartered in Belmont, Massachusetts. So there you go. So that's just been some information on mostly just I guess these groups and stuff. I guess we could look it up, see how many members are part of the John Birch Society on Facebook. I mean, might as well then too. John Birch Society. We'll see how big it is. I have no idea. Let's see. They probably have a Facebook page nowadays. Oops, I gotta type in Facebook. And then too, you can maybe see like how much money they're bringing in too, so we could check that out. So I'm saying, how much money does it bring in? Or, I don't know, net worth or something. I don't know what we can type in. And I don't know how to pronounce them. It says the Couch Brothers, second wealthiest family in America. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but it says F was an early member of the John Birch Society, so they have to have money. So I don't know if they do take like public donations, maybe just from its members, but so. But anytime you have these big groups and stuff, you'd have to think, well, maybe stuff like Freemasonry might be involved in some other things. So I don't know if it says how many, 46,000 members. So it's not as big as some of these groups, but it's still pretty big, and we'll see how much it takes in. Let's see. Money made something. We should be able to find a website here. They're covering it up. Yeah, let's see. It should be, as a non-profit. I think they have to say it somehow. How much they make. Just how much does the John Birch Society make? I could just say that and try that. See what we get. Well, it doesn't look like I can get some information. Let's see. Just still looking up. You think? Why is it so hard to find out how much they make? Well, I guess I'm not too interested. I just know it's a big group. So this has been the video, and someone wanted information on it, so I did the video. All right. Thank you.